Give me a second. Let me stop that music. Can you? Probably should have stopped that first, right? No. Hold on one second. Let me get back to the screen so I can see what I'm doing. Um, yeah, nope. I don't see it on the screen either. Thanks for typing so I can see if these those messages show up on screen. No, ironically, it's not. Well, it's actually it's because it's so bright in here. My shirt looks green. I mean, looks blue, but it's actually like an some sort of green. I'm not even about to lie to you. And then it has pinstriping that is the same color of my tie. So that's my style. That's my style. Yeah, I've been dealing with green for a little bit lately. Change the message because I know sometimes you be missing that. Just for today, I will do my work honestly. I appreciate you joining me tonight. I don't have a live per se, but I do have a recording of a reading. Don't mind my remote. I actually got a TV to be my screen so I can see what's going on. Y'all know I had so much trouble with that. Hey, love bug. I was having so much trouble with my screens and always looking off. So then I got my computer screen to sit up front, but it was about this big and I couldn't see anything. So I went and got a TV, and so here we are. I got a TV. So tonight I'm gonna talk about a few things, and then I have a recording of a energy reading that the person said that they don't mind if I share. So I'll play that for you, and we can discuss that. Or if somebody's feeling lucky and you want to go live, I'll work on giving you the link, and we can add you to the session if you like. I hate that these messages don't show up on screen because I really want them to be seen by everybody. But one day I'm gonna figure that out, one thing at a time. We don't have that weird echo like we used to have. My cameras ain't so bad. A lot of things have improved. I appreciate y'all patience as we go through this struggle. Talk about it a little bit. I got a new pendulum too. Whoop, whoop, whoop. It was a gift from, I don't know if my number one fan, but definitely a number one fan. They thought that that'd be a good addition to my collection. Progress slowly, you see. Yeah, I'm trying to. That's I told you that's one of my goals. I want everybody to see that it's a process and it takes progress, and y'all a part of this because that first live was a mess. You remember I used to have stuff dancing all over the screen. Wow. But anyway, I'm gonna talk about a few things pertinent to my healing process, and then I'm going to share the recording of a reading because they said they could. So for like I said, this week, just for today, I will do my work honestly. This week I actually been. I see you on YouTube. Thank you, Michelle. Girl, you my number one YouTube fan. Oh my God, I swear, every time you on there, so I appreciate you, girl. You be on there when I'm reading on Thursdays, and I will be reading this Thursday. You on there when I'm reading on Thursday? And you be on there when I'm on here on Tuesdays too. So I appreciate you 100%, definitely. So something that's been kind of pertinent in my life has been this week and last couple of weeks has been awareness of how I speak to myself and how I speak about myself and to other people. And it's a wild concept because overall, thank you, Marlena. You don't got to be, I'm glad you in here. And you don't got to say, I sound like a DJ this time because we've been working it out. We've been improving. So yeah. Now it's wild because my cam can't, when I have guests in, it was messing up a little bit, but I got it figured out today, hopefully. But anyway, it was about a little awareness about how I speak to myself and speak about myself to myself and to others. And is the it's been coming up in the wildest ways, but it's really made me have to think about how little I speak positive to myself. And the wild thing about that is you don't really think about I'm sorry, Marlena's on here making me laugh, yo. You don't really think about self-talk, you know what I mean, as a part of your healing and a part of your process. But self-talk really does matter. You know what I mean? And the wild thing about it is I think my first instance of seeing how little I talk positive to myself was I was at a conference and I went to one of these sessions and they were talking about mindfulness because mindfulness is all the rave now. And in education is definitely no different. So mindfulness is still all the rave everywhere. And so the presenter had us do this simple exercise where we just kind of laid on the floor and tried to meditate a little bit. And she asked us to think about a place that we love while our eyes are closed. And I'm thinking about a place I love. And then she was like, she moved on to think about someone you love and talk to them positively, tell them positive things. And then it came to think about yourself and tell yourself positive things. And out of all of those steps, the one that was most difficult for me was the positive to myself. And that's a wild concept because I see myself as a positive person. Like, you know what I mean? I don't really bring a lot of negativity. I'm human, so can I be negative at times? Yes. And I think one of the reasons why I never really took account for how little I speak positive to myself is because I have confidence, right? And confidence, sometimes when you speak in the language of confidence, that'll make you think it's a positive. Are you speaking positive to yourself? That's not always the case. So like for me, when it came to confidence, like I'm very confident. If you know me, when it comes to I know what I know. And when I know what I know, I know what I know. And I tell you that I know what I know. And for me, I felt as though that may have been positive speak, but for real, that was just a statement of fact, but not necessarily positive encouragement. That's not me saying you are an intelligent man who has done the work to know certain things. And that definitely hits a lot differently than I know what I know. You know what I mean? Because that's just a statement of fact because I do know what I know. And then I had to assess how I talk to myself after a traumatic event. And it could be crazy because the traumatic event can be something as large as a breakup or death in the family or something like that. Or it can be as simple as I spilled a cup of water. Like for today, I wound up, it's wild because like after a breakup, I'm probably very hard on myself. You know what I mean? You gotta recalibrate. So comment says, I was just reading about how to heal and unblock my solar plexus and how it gets blocked. One of the healing options was self-positive mantras. Yup. And you know what's wild about that too? Because if I do my love languages, words of affirmation is one of my love languages. So if somebody speaks positive to me, it does something to my spirit and my energy. As a matter of fact, it makes me kind of feel like a kid on Christmas Day, which is a wild concept. But Do I do that enough to myself? No. You know what I mean? I may say stuff to motivate myself or anything like that. And all of those things are the things that allow me to not necessarily see how I was not speaking necessarily positive to myself. So, like I was giving the example of the day, I'm trying to get me some rice out of a bowl. I done made me a nice little rice meal and trying to get the rice, and it flicked a little bit, rice flipped all over the place. And I was like, damn it. What the hell is wrong with you, Anthony? And that's a wild concept because if, let's say, if I had been in the classroom or it had been a guest over here or someone else had done that, had spilled that rice, you know what I mean? I probably would have told them it's all right. It could be cleaned up. But when I did it to myself, I was like, damn, I was just hard on myself. And that was crazy because I'll give someone else grace before I give myself. And that made me have to really think about how positive or how negative I actually do speak to myself. And then after I talked about how little I speak positive to myself, I then had to process how often I do speak negatively to myself. And the weird ways that it comes out. Like one way that I may speak negatively to myself, and I'm sure that this probably resonates with someone else, is when I risk vulnerability. You know what I mean? It can be something as little as asking for help. I just went through a situation that I can honestly say, have I asked for help earlier, the situation would not have continued that long, but I talk myself out of it. I'll say stuff like, well, they're too busy. Everybody got their own problem. We all got our own thing. You know what I mean? You smart enough to figure it out. I'll talk myself out of doing the things that are necessary to help. You know what I mean? Or because there comes with a certain level of vulnerability that I have to experience. But one way that I really had to process how I speak negative to myself is in being funny. So I say it, people say it, everyone says it. I will say a joke or laugh at the most inopportune and inappropriate times. See now, only Michelle comments show up. Only them YouTube comments show up. It'll be crazy. Anyway, I'm gonna work on that later. So excuse me, I got crazy. So okay, so the way it winds up showing up interestingly is not and even in a way that you would think is normally negative. So like I was saying, I like to laugh. I like to joke. I'm gonna say something crazy. I'm gonna say something inappropriate. We all gonna laugh. It was funny. I was telling somebody how the average kid, the average like 4-year-old laughs like 700 times, and the average adult laughs like 2 in one day. Like that's a huge discrepancy. And I actually take pride on if you work with me or if you're around me long enough, you definitely not laughing no 2 times a day. I always say I'm gonna get you to 110 laughs a day, which is crazy. And so what's wild about it is when I say something like that, it's easy for someone to say, boy, you so crazy. Or for me to say, I'm crazy. Or boy, you stupid. And although the intentions, you remember what we talked about intentions. The road to hell is paved with good intentions. So although the intentions are positive, the language that is used is negative, and that vibrates differently with your spirit. So instead of saying, I like to make people laugh, or I'm creative, or I'm imaginative, I allow myself and others to call me crazy. And that's been a part of my life since I was a kid. But I'm not crazy. I'm not crazy at all. Nor do those people think I'm crazy. But why are we even using that negative language? And I'm sure some of you have also been described or describe yourself in the same way. And the wild thing, how this wind up, words do have power. whether you are aware of it or not. Just like I said, it's meaning in the name. So that's why some of this awareness of how I speak to myself really came from conversations with a friend. So in talking about this healing process and talking about, hey, Brandy, thanks you can join for a little bit. So talking about this healing process and we're building and communicating, I laugh all the time. And every time that I'll be like, well, I'm crazy, she'd be like, don't say that to yourself. Or I'll say something that's weirdly negative and she'd be like, don't say that about yourself. And I was like, yo, instead of arguing with her about what my intentions of the words, I really started just thinking about what I was saying. You know what I mean? Because she was the first person to point out how negative language had just become a part of my everyday dialect as I communicate with myself. And that's bananas, 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 bananas. So I really talked about that because I want other people to think about how self-talk can change the way you interact in life. How you talk to yourself when you risk vulnerability. How do you talk to yourself after you make a mistake or accident? How you talk to yourself when you're having a good time. So then one of the comments said that they read that ignoring your intuition or gut feeling is detrimental to your self-positivity too. So I can see why someone does that, right? I mean, I can see how someone says that because if my intuition told me to don't do that and I did it anyway, I can definitely beat myself up for not listening to my intuition. You know what I mean? For second guessing myself or my intuition. And that definitely would be detrimental to my self-positivity. You know what I mean? So that was a great example of how self-talk and being aware of yourself, what yourself is telling you, and you not doing that can be detrimental to your own healing and growth. Next thing I kind of wanted to talk about, I'll be having notes and stuff. So listen, somebody was over here. Her name is pronounced Jeopardy. Thanks, because you know what? I ain't know how to pronounce your name either. So, and listen, we probably been friends on Facebook for several years at this point. So thanks. I was just like, I hope, hey, listen, this is one of the reasons I don't even deal with names because I'm going to mispronounce it. So if I want to talk to you, I'm just going to talk to you. I'm like, hey, let me tell you something. If I look you dead in your eyes, you know I'm talking to you. I ain't got to say your name. Even people who say your name all the time weird me out. Like, oh my God, there was this kid at the barbershop. They used to call my homeboy Ali all day. All day. He'd be like, Ali, what we going to do today? Ali, I was thinking, Ali. I'm like, man, please don't call my name that much. So I got it. Hey, Toya, I'm glad you can join us. I'm going to do your reading next, and you're going to be the next recording. She been asking for a reading for a minute, but she ain't trying to mess with y'all. She think y'all live people are a little rough, so she a little nervous. But I told her everybody in here about healing, so ain't nobody going to be too rough on you. But see, now she'll probably just come back and watch the video with y'all. Hello, Renee. I'm glad you could join me for a little bit. If you want one, I'll do one of your readings. Yep, I did put your business out there in the street, Toya. So, yeah. Hey, that's what this channel is all about, man. It's about transparency and vulnerability. So it ain't no secrets around here. You heard? Ain't no secret. It's a safe space. It is 99% of the time. But that 1% of the time, see, that's where I was getting ready to use some of that negative self-talk because I was getting ready to say that 1% of the time, I be tripping. But I don't be tripping. That 1% of the time, I just need to recalibrate myself. I need space to rebuild my energy. I need something, but I don't be tripping. All right, so the other thing I kind of want to talk about is how your healing can intersect with others and how that can create a new dynamic for you. So one thing that I'm 100% transparent about, if you watch any of these lives, and sometimes this is how I can tell people who have seen my lives or even cared enough to even ask. One thing that I'm very transparent about is I'm on this, right. You seen, thank you. Because I was just about to talk negative to myself and I had to catch myself. So it's an everyday process. Just for the day, I will do my work honestly. But what I was saying is how I am on this journey with you all. So the only difference is I really just put mine on Front Street because I talk about it. Y'all get to witness the mess that I'm trying to grow, you know what I mean? And I talk about my own issues and the battles that I have and my experiences. And what I do is try to share and help others with that, you know what I mean? So with my healing and helping of others heal, our healing intersects a lot. You know what I mean? It healing will intersect with other people, sometimes in good ways, sometimes in bad ways, sometimes in, well, I ain't even gonna say bad ways, sometimes in ways you may not understand yet. You know what I mean? So for me, one thing that I have talked about several times is my issues with drawing boundaries. So for me, when it came time to draw a boundary, and it was funny because if you ever really worked about, if Sherry was on here still, Sherry would be able to co-sign because we worked together and she's seen me as a supervisor. And I remember I had this lady at my job. She was giving me the business, harassing me, harassing me, harassing me, harassing me. And I really needed to draw a boundary with that lady. But because I respected her age, because I respected her experience, because I understood, I was trying to give her, like, I understood that she had issues with men, even though it wasn't necessarily with me. I know she had trauma she needed to work through. I didn't draw a boundary, even though it was creating a hell for me. I struggled to draw a boundary because drawing boundaries make me feel guilty. You know what I mean? I'm an empath and I'm a giver. So I give a lot. And when I have to say no, it does make me feel guilty. You know what I mean? So I've been working on not feeling guilty, right? And the thing about this healing, you can only get so far before that healing is challenged, or you have to get out there and test to see if you can't say, well, I'm more patient. I won't talk trash. I won't, yeah, definitely. Okay, so Sherry, no. Wasn't that old lady when she was trying to say I was sleeping with everybody else's job? Wasn't she getting on my goddamn nerves? And every single time that I'd say something to her, she'd be like, okay, you right. You right. I'm wrong. You know what I mean? And still go back and do all that mess. So anyway, so it's this. Oh my God. The boundary thing has been bananas for me. Bananas, bananas, bananas. And the wild thing, it took me a long time to realize that because I could draw boundaries, but it takes so much for me to draw that boundary that I'm already my energy is already off. It just takes, so sometimes it's I've even looked as a flaky individual just because I was not trying to draw a boundary. Like, man, I just don't want to draw boundaries. That's why I'm dead serious. One of the reasons that I'm okay with ghosting people is because I don't even want to draw boundaries and it be making me feel guilty. So, except one time, and I think this was a boundary that was put into me from growing up with the family I grew up in and the neighborhoods I grew up in. The only time that I draw a boundary quickly and had no guilt about that is if you talk to me crazy. If you talk to me crazy, I'm going to draw that boundary real quick. And depending on my age and where my maturity was, no telling what that boundary would look like. But if you talk to me crazy, I'm gonna draw a boundary. Hell, it's one of the things you know that. Toya has known me since I was a kid, since high school. I'm put a never mind. I ain't gonna put her business out there again. But she known me since high school, so she knows. So after y'all know, if it's time to draw, you talk to me crazy. You can tell by how my energy changed. I'm confident in. There we go. I'm confident in being able to draw boundaries when you talk crazy. One of the comments says, we cannot fully develop our healing muscle if we try to avoid bad feelings. Feelings are not facts, they're information. Definitely, that I agree with 100%. The only caveat that I add with that, with some of those feelings, we just don't want to make sure that we reside in that feeling. So if I wind up feeling sad because of loss or grief because of loss, that is okay. That is a natural feeling that I need to explore and find out why I feel like that, right? And then I need to get out of that grief. That's not a place you want to reside because grief can be debilitating. You know what I mean? But you don't need to avoid. As a matter of fact, I started working on not labeling them as good and bad and just accepting them as is. Now, I have not perfected that by no means, but that is one thing that I'm working on. And when I do my readings and stuff like that, I tell, because it really comes around that neediness and clingy. Those two things always have negative connotations. And I try to tell people to take away the idea of good and bad and just accept it for what it is. It's a statement of what is sometimes. Um, like I said, with me talking with my confidence and so forth. So I want to give you an example of how healing intersects, and you'll have several types of responses that speak to your spirit differently. So I just told you about this boundary thing. I went through a huge challenge, right? So I had someone visit me, right? And in the process of them visiting me, is a woman, right? And in the process of them visiting me, I find out that they really don't have any place to go. Now, they're trying to figure it out and whatever their situation is, they really don't have any place to go. And if you know me, like I always talk about, I work with children and families. Um, One of the worst things that I think that I can do is put a woman out on the street. You know what I mean? So they were here for a couple of days. Like and honestly, I really don't think that their intentions were to live with me, right? I think their intentions was to visit, you know what I mean? And honestly, I do some healing and some stuff like that on them, and we move forward. But one thing that I do know about energy and the energy of my residents is as soon as and if someone has been here, don't put all my business in the street, but you can attest, as soon as you hit the door, there is an energy, a calming energy, a loving energy. You walk in my crib, you feel like you getting hugs from, and then when you go up the stairs, it's like, and not to say that where I stay is an amazing place, because it's not amazing. You know what I mean? It's okay. But the energy that I create in here is very thoughtful. I want one of growth. I want one of love. I want one of life. I want one of comfort. I want one like that. And when you get here, it feels like that. And I can see how someone can get here, get comfortable, and then decide, I can stay, especially if I'm not drawing boundaries, right? So the person winds up staying here, and a week goes by. They still here. We roll it into 2 weeks, and now I'm starting to have this boundary battle because one, I have a lot of stuff for myself I need to work on. I got cracks in the foundation that I need to repair, and I'm repairing them. Partly is through this healing things. I want to make a career change. I'm trying to build whatever this is. I just got a lot of stuff going on, and I'm not in a position to be taking care of someone. You know what I mean? Nor do I want to. But I'm so worried about karma and energy. And I'm like, yo, I got some stuff in the works. I don't need no bad energy on me. So I'm scared to even draw the boundary of being like, yo, you can't stay here. So I wound up talking to one of my homeboys who is on this healing path as well. And this is how our healing winds up intersect. One thing that he understands, we both have this interesting connection to the feminine energy. For him, his connection is he wants to love them all, and mine is I be wanting to save them all. So that's where our healing process crosses. So I'm talking to him about the situation, and I'm telling him about how I feel and how I'm worried about bad karma and all this. And he just so politely stops me and he says, hey, man, you don't even got to worry about that. He said, you've already done your cosmic duty, right? And I had to sit there and process that for a second, because according to what I can do, I was a good host. I got there and we did some Reiki. I even took them on a spiritual journey, all this stuff. And it was at no cost. I allowed them. I fed them. I did everything. So if I was to do anything more, it would be sacrificing myself for their mistakes. And it's funny because I took this Clifton Strength Finders was one. And then I had this other training that was 5 choices. And one of the choices was to say, don't let someone else's crisis become yours. And I worked with my staff on that, because people will love to put their crisis on you. And it's easy for me because I'm good at fixing stuff. I'm good at handling crisis. I'm good on my feet and stuff like that. So people will give me their crisis if I allow them to. So I actually needed someone to tell me that I had already paid my college. I already did my cosmic duty. And the wild thing about that, if I had asked, like this, what I was talking about earlier, if I had stopped and asked for that help earlier, I probably didn't have to endure that emotional battle as long as I did. You know what I mean? So that self-talk, every time when I thought about it, I always keep telling myself, you can figure this out. You don't have to ask nobody. You can figure this out, blah, 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 so forth, so forth. And that's how I went. So when my homeboy told me that, it was like a light turned on. And I went and had the conversation. And they left. So excuse me. And it was literally that. Well, no, it was not that simple. Don't get me the line. But the process, the steps of how fast it moved, you know what I mean? Within the next 2 to 3 days, I got my life back. You know what I mean? So then it's I don't even know if as a matter of fact, I'm telling. I wound up talking to someone that's on all my lives. I call him my number one fan, yellow pendulum fan. And I told them that story, right? And it was funny because I told them that on the phone. And I was honestly nervous to even tell someone that I was in a situation like that, because of everyone sees me as smarter than that. But if you really know me, I am smarter than that, but I am really that giving. I am a nice person. I'm not friendly. Those are 2 different things. So people be thinking I'm friendly. No, I'm not always friendly, but I am nice. I will give the shirt off my back. My mama says I see the world through rose-colored glasses. I am nice. So a person like an empath, and as nice as I am, I do find myself in situations like this. I even had one of my old consultants tell me, boy, you be saving everybody. A girl can walk up to you. Anybody can walk up to you right now and be like, I don't got a job. You put them to work. So funny, when I was doing the shroom trip with this person that I'm talking about, one thing that they said, they saw me standing there like a superhero. And I'm like, I need to take this cape off because I don't want to be that. So I go to tell my number one fan, and they was like, well, when we on the phone, they was like, well, what I want to say, I can't say to you, so I'm going to text it to you. So, that put my anxiety through the roof. I was like, man, what the hell is going on? What are they going to say? I'm nervous. You know what I mean? And all they said was, I'm glad that our friendship is to a point where you feel safe enough and vulnerable enough to say this to me. And as we talked about it, even they can tell that I was nervous about telling them that and all of this stuff. You know what I mean? So that was great because that was comforting to my spirit. And little did I know, that was exactly the response that I needed. I needed a certain level of gentleness because I was still being hard on myself. You know what I mean? So my homeboy Ali gave me some gentleness. No, I ain't mean to say his name, but my homeboy gave me some gentleness. And then number one fan gave me some gentleness for my spirit. And then I told another person that I interact with. And at this point, let me be clear. None of this stuff is dating. I'm single and dating is interesting. I'm healing. That's what I'm doing. So I wound up telling this third person and they listened to the whole story. And then after I told the story, they made the situation be about them, right? And although I can understand how they can feel the way they feel, and I can respect that, that's cool. The incident and the event was about me. It was about me creating boundaries. It was about me forgiving myself. And the best feeling that I had after I had that conversation and created that boundary is I did not feel guilty. That was a victory for me. I did not feel guilty. I still don't feel guilty. I'll be feeling bad sometimes for the person, but we all got to be responsible for our own life choices. But I don't feel guilty, which is an improvement. So now as I'm talking to this person, they have feelings and opinions about it because they can't even understand how I'd find myself in this situation. So now I find myself going to explain my healing and my boundaries and my issues so they can have a clearer picture. And in the end of it, they wasn't feeling it. It still was about them. And in my past, that was another area of creating boundaries that I needed to do for myself. And I didn't know that this challenge would come up so quick. Like after I created the boundary with the person staying here, I created another boundary, which is wild. And I didn't know that it would come up so quick. But what wound up happening is normally in these situations where I try to express my feelings and someone turns it and makes it about their feelings, I start responding to their feelings and forget mine. You know what I mean? But at this point in my own journey, I'm aware of my own healing, my own processes, and it's important. The number one priority for me is my healing. Number one. And so now as we're doing this, I realize, this is another place where I struggle to draw boundaries. And I just had to draw a boundary and tell them I'm not going to allow you to make me feel any worse about one of the things that I just went through. You know what I mean? I got my own healing, I got my own boundaries, but I'm not going to allow someone to hijack my healing and my feelings and make it about them when it's not about them, has nothing to do with them, nor should it. So, and that was a very different response from the other two. That one wound up where the other two were soothing and comforting. This one wound up being another challenge for me to draw a boundary. And I was proud of myself because, listen, I always fall victim. If I tell you, hey, that hurt my feelings, and you say, well, that hurt my feelings too. Now we talking about your feelings instead of my feelings. You know what I mean? And I, in my healing process, I said I didn't want to do that anymore. So I had to be challenged with that. So let's say sometimes the universe will put us in situations to practice what we claim we want to accomplish. Exactly. That's what I was saying. You can only do so much of this healing process and work on yourself before you have to take a chance and get out there and see how much you've done, or life is just going to put you in situations to challenge you and then you see. And then later on, I wound up having another one. I was talking to later on. Talking to my family, and in conversations, I wanted to talk. I wanted to call and tell my immediate family something that's good that's happening for our immediate family. And when I was talking to them, they were continuously talking about everybody else's issues, all these problems, all this other stuff. And I don't want to hear that. I don't care. You are responsible for your own problems. I can only help you a little bit. We ain't going to waste time. And if we got something positive going on in our family, that's what we're going to talk about. So I had to tell them, hey, we're not going to talk about other people's problems. We're going to talk about the goodness that is going on in our family. And that was a major boundary too, because that's the one where I normally feel guilty. Normally feel guilty. So all of that again was to discuss some things. Hopefully it resonates with you. And I definitely want you to, before we move on to the video, I definitely want you to be aware of your self-talk and how easily it is to talk negative to yourself. I definitely want you to be aware on how your healing can intersect with others, but ultimately you are still responsible for your healing as they are with theirs. You know what I mean? And you'll have experiences that speak to your spirit and some that don't. And you know what I mean? And they're all learning lessons that you pay attention to and you grow from. So next, I'm going to switch up a little bit. All right, I gotta make sure everything, and we're going to do. Yeah, I got a little energy reading that I did earlier. Now look, Michelle's thing would be right in the middle of the screen right now when I try to do the energy reading. So this is Kiki, and she did give us permission to view this. And we can definitely get the party started. I got a new pendulum too, so yeah, I don't know what that green thing is about. I think sometimes I'm not going to bore you with fading in and out. And here, let me move Michelle. Comment get to pick your pendulum. I got black. Don't mind me. I'll be a little interested sometimes in these readings, especially if I'm comfortable with you. And I've probably known Kiki for more years than I care to count right now. So I got.
Oh, you asking me to pick?
Yep, blue.
Oh.
And then I have the newest to the family, Yaller.
Let's go with purple, the color of royalty.
Purple,
like
Yaller. Purple. All right. You got anything? That purple came from my geometry teacher in the 9th grade. He swear he was from North Wilkesboro, and that's how they said words purple,
I'm concerned
oval,
about
any
my
of those
love
words.
life.
He was like bubber in the overs, purple.
Yeah,
Ellie words. He struggled. All right, it's closed. No.
I'm
on my Mr. King.
My finances is going on.
Say it again in English.
Huh?
Say it again in English.
Don't do it. I said I'm also concerned about
Y'all forgive me. I forgot I had my do-rag on. This is just supposed to be a private read, so you get what you get. We shall do your heart. At some point, I will take it off. Don't worry. Boop, boop, be-doop. Oh, God. All right, you better. They definitely tried to say I had ADHD when I was growing up. All right, Charlie. I don't know. I'm getting feelings, so I got thoughts. Green, okay. Maybe that makes sense. See, look, I'm talking to myself. Hey, yeah. Hey, listen, let me tell you about these waves. Side note, since I'm over here going crazy. Man, listen, gray hair, if you got gray hair got its own mind. It does what it wants to do. And I was going to try to get the curls, so that's when I was growing my hair out, because getting the curls is easier than getting the waves, so I thought. And one day I was riding in traffic, and I seen this dude with hair like mine with the waves spinning. So
Slightly
I
out
tried
of
to do
rhythm,
that,
but
and I had
not
him for a
bad at
while,
all.
but I be getting lazy trying to keep my waves up. So
Do.
I get
That could
them,
be
I
like
let
you
them
just
go,
woke
I
up
get
from a
them, I
nap
let
or
them
some
go.
weirdo shit like
I got a
that.
love-hate relationship with
Let's see
waves.
what's going on. Do, 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 do. Ooh. Honestly, I don't know. What do you think your problem is? Because it seems like it's moving pretty fairly. I mean, you got a little issues with uncertainty, which makes sense. You know what I mean? I mean, you're in a new area, so of course you're gonna have some uncertainty. Um, Little stuff going on with rejection, but that's normal. You know what I mean? Like hell. If you didn't have a little fear of rejection, I think something was wrong with you. So yeah,
You know, I be putting the
so
real
something
sound effects
specific
in. At
about
least I wasn't using the machine like last
your
time.
heart that you concerned about.
See, I told you I was gonna take them
Just
off.
wanted to make sure that it's open and ready to receive love. I know all of it.
Well, it's that it's open, right?
Yeah, it's a big part that I
And
get to with this one.
it's open. So, but I do just thinking off the top of my head, you do have to put yourself out there a little more. And as of right now, I just seems like you kind of busy, and the time that the type of relationship that you would want to have needs it may not quite fit in that schedule.
Be mindful
So you
of your
have to figure out
time
a
and
way to
availability
make
when
that
you're
schedule
dating
also
because it
looking right
does make a difference.
into the
You
type
have
of
to make
relationship that you
sure
want. You know what I
that
mean?
dating
And
and relationships are
then
priority
put
in
yourself in
your
position.
schedule
You know
if
what I
that's what
mean?
you want.
Or goddamn, shoot, you at this point, and I always talk about that, especially the new city. Just put yourself out there. You know how to pick. You know what I mean? You know, you might pick a dud, you throw him back, but just introduce yourself like, hey, hi. You know what I mean? Wink it, motherfucker. I
I
mean,
encourage
wink
women to
it,
take their
work.
power back
So
and
yeah,
pick
just put
who they
yourself out
want.
there,
Stop picking from who
or
wants them.
pick who you want. So as far as your heart being guarded or anything like that, I mean, I don't get no vibe beyond normal caution. You know what I mean? So you trying to see if your heart is open? Yeah, it is. It's the availability that you got to work on. So it's definitely open. Now,
I need these Facebook comments to show up. It'd be so many Facebook comments.
you do got to work on some receive too. Um, so it's open and it's ready, but I do feel like you'll have some issues around receiving. And that's partly because of you being a giver. And most givers have a hard time. They struggle with receiving because they're always in the position of giving, 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 giving.
I do want to pause right there to talk a little bit about that. That issue that I brought up to her is an issue. One reason that I can recognize it is because it's an issue that I have, and I know other people have that, especially for empaths or people who are givers. They give so much, they give so much, they don't really have a lot of experience with receiving or getting. And when they start to receive, it makes them feel uncomfortable. I remember when I first used to start receiving, it used to make me feel uncomfortable. Well, I would tell people they didn't have to do this. You don't have to do that. Don't do this for me. It's okay. And it was wild because no lie, it was probably this is how long I've been working on this. It was probably in high school. One of my high school girlfriends. As a matter of fact, I'll never forget. I went to the prom with this girl too. She used to always try to be helpful, but I was raised in the mindset of a man does for himself. He stands up, he does this, blah, 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 so forth, so forth. So allowing my girlfriend at that point to help me was abnormal. It was foreign. It was a foreign idea. And I remember one day she got so frustrated with me that she just yelled at me. She was like, yo, how am I supposed to show you I'm a good woman and you won't allow me to help you, which is crazy. And then I also had another person tell me, yo, you're not going to block my blessings because you don't know how to receive yours. So yeah. And when you want to get out there, I told her, like I'll tell you, if you know receiving is one of your issues, please keep that in the forefront of your mind. So when you start to receive, you've already have some sort of game plan. You've already mentally prepared yourself. You're just a little better prepared to start receiving. Because if you want healthy interactions, you want healthy romance, you want healthy any of that, it includes reciprocity. So you'll be giving and getting, giving. So, and I'm not saying that that is your issue, but when it comes to this relationship and putting yourself out there on the line for love, receiving will be an area that you want to keep on the forefront of your mind. So when you start receiving it, you won't have those conflicts. You know what I mean? I ain't even finna lie. That's an area where you can struggle. Sound issues. So you put it on the forefront. You know, we were struggling for a minute. Is another one you want to talk about? All right, cool. Well, I'll just go whichever one I want to now, right?
That's fine.
All right, let's do the
I have a
thing.
question. I don't know if this is part of energy, but I mean, I don't know. This might not be the appropriate setting.
Ask.
Well, I need to purchase a car, so I'm just trying to see, is this the right time? Should I wait? You know,
A car?
I need a vehicle.
Okay, so that's something else. In these readings, all type of things come out. So people ask me a lot of interesting questions or whatever they generally talk about. So let me know your thought process. Well, let me explain Kiki. Kiki is not new to this. She's true to this. So she already knows. So she uses these energy readings very differently. She literally was the first person I read once I got out the class because she already knew about Reiki. So now when she comes to a reading, which she has had several, she comes with questions in mind, things that are bothering her, things she want to discuss, or like she comes fully prepared for the most part. So that's why she already likes two things that I want to talk about. That's her approach. She only thing you're doing is making my arm weak.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, kind of like therapy, but that's why hers will be a little different than a lot of the other ones who don't know much. A lot of people, it's their first experience with Reiki, energy readings, or any of that. So, all right, well, that's where a problem resides. Right. Yeah, I'll be laughing. And you see everything. Okay, so it's crazy. Before I even read words, one of the reasons I feel like your crown might be off for the most part is you moving routine. You creating a new routine, and you kind of just moving routines can be and routine can be thought. You don't need thought to complete routines, to function your routine, to go to work, wake up, to run a schedule. You don't need thought. As a matter of fact, one of my gifts in the classroom was having my class run like a well-oiled machine. Them kids ain't have to think. They literally instinctively did the same thing every day. So they couldn't even tell time, and they'd be like, "I feel like it's time to go outside." They'd be right. Time to pause, their spirit to break your routine a little bit. You know what I mean? Do something for yourself and allow yourself to think a little bit. Woo! You having some issues with your fun right now, and I think it's just your routine. It does sound like I said for a lot of the personal space that you may be using. What I was saying, and because you functioned in that routine, you just like cutting off your crown isn't a bad thing. There are points in time where you need to cut off any of these chakras and stuff like that. So that's not a bad thing at all. You know what I mean? But now that you got questions,
What you're going to have to do for the most part, like I said, is break some of your routine that allow you space to think. Whether it be, I'll be suggesting taking spiritual baths. Whether you instead of rushing out the bathroom when you're in there, just spend dudes.
I always
On
trip
average, they
myself out
say
on how
on average
I
men
wind up using
spend
statistics.
an hour and a half, 2 hours in the bathroom,
Conversation.
as opposed to women who spend about 30 minutes. You know what I mean? And it's funny because statistically, they make it seem like women spend more time in the bathroom. Y'all spend more time in the bathroom getting ready. We spend more time in the bathroom doing nothing. You know what I mean?
Real talk.
And that space allows
Men
us
be
to
in the
think.
bathroom
So
all
it's
day,
crazy
everybody
about
actually
it.
be, you spent 2 hours
With my
in the
old
bathroom.
staff,
I
two
know.
places that they
Legs
know,
and
I'll
feet
be
be
like, hey,
sleep,
I was in the shower this
tingling.
morning and I was thinking. You know what I mean? Because that's where I get a lot of my good thinking. I'm like, hey, I was using the bathroom this morning and I was thinking. You know what I mean? So, think of something like that. Create some time to think about it, and then we're gonna take your intuition next. And between these two, we go figure out if there's a good time for you to get a car. Yeah, I just really feel like you're having issues with your fun.
You're saying
And I
fun, F-U-N?
say it again in English. Say it one more time.
She hates when
You're
I say
saying
that.
fun,
But if I don't understand
F-U-N?
you,
Yes.
I say it again in English. Because
Fun.
if you say what, say huh, people say something smart like you huh, you can hear. I know you heard me, but when I say it
And
again in English,
break your
they
routine.
always repeat it.
All right, let's check your intuition.
But she hates it.
We can talk about
Hates
this car. Because if that's what you want to talk about, that's a major issue outside of this energy. This energy stuff is cool, but you got some real shit that you want to talk about. So, all right, let's see what this third eye's doing.
She felt like her intuition was doing a lot more, but yeah, it's trying to work.
All right, you see, it's trying to move. Yeah, you really in a routine. You cutting off everything.
Don't be a hater. Liberty.
I'm focused.
See, Liberty
Yeah, it
doesn't
might
like
that
when I
might be
tell
a
her to
word
say
you
it again
use.
in English.
I mean, focus could
I
be
tell everybody that. I don't
part
care.
of
I say
your
it at work.
routine. But no,
That
but it's
and
not.
unfortunately,
That
fart sounds.
it's the routine, and it
But
might be
don't tell nobody
creating
that's
a
our
new
secret.
routine. It might be the new routine. You know what I mean? But it's the routine more than the focus. Now, shit, you always focus.
No, I'm
crazy.
like super focused now. Like I'm trying to get my funds with the D up, funds
No
up.
doubt.
I'm just, like I said, I'm in a new area, so
Creating
I'm
new.
just trying to make sure that the kids are successful, I'm successful, whatever. And, like I just don't want it to be like I moved in vain. So, like just like I said, I really have been very, very, very focused on just making sure that whatever we need to do or whatever is done. You know, just making sure like stuff is paid, things are done, whatever. But like I said, now I do need a vehicle.
You need to what?
I said now I need a vehicle.
So, I definitely pick up some worrying. So, it's a little doubt going on with your intuition. Um,
Kiki is honest. So
I feel like
although
you having
she
some
is facially
some struggle
expressive,
with seeing pictures.
she
Now this says
she
seeing
very
the
rarely
bigger
gives any
picture,
pushback
but I don't necessarily
when I
think
say
it's
something
the
to her
bigger
because
picture. It might be
she's
like
very
what you're saying
honest
with this car, like you know what I
and
mean.
aware and transparent
Figuring out
with
how
herself and
to
who
or
she is.
what to do about
So
a
that makes
car
it
is
a
a
lot
picture.
easier.
You know what I mean. It may not to be the big picture for your life, but it is
Mhm.
definitely a small picture in your life. You know what I mean.
Right.
So all right. So what's up with the car?
Like I just had issues previously, credit wise or whatever. So I was just trying to, toggle between, which direction I should go. Do I need to wait? Should I go ahead and get one? Just like those kind of things.
What 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 would cause you to wait?
Um, I guess not just trying to ensure that I get the best interest rate possible,
Excuse me.
or trying
I
to
laugh
just
at
get
myself
enough
because I got
together
my
to
lips
just get a
laid
cash
all over the
car.
mic.
Okay, cool.
But I really
And
don't want that. I mean, I
you say
have
you
a
don't want a cash car?
technically no, because I want a newer vehicle. Like I want to when I say
Reliability.
new, right, and so I want
Got
to
it.
be able to have it for a while. Like I don't want to go and repurchase another car. Like I'm looking at 10 years. 10 years.
Got it.
Keeping the same
Man,
vehicle.
no.
So I don't want to go and
Appreciate
really
you,
buy a
bro.
cash car because I really want to just go
Appreciate you,
ahead and
brother.
get
Yeah,
something.
that's
I do
cash
want
cars
to
3 to 5 years tops.
so,
So, sacral.
Yeah, we lost a little footage right there. I don't know, it stopped recording in the middle of it, so we didn't get to do her solar. Well, we did her solar plexus, but it was not recorded. We got to the sacral after we did her third eye intuition.
All right.
Man, I'm listening.
Makes
When I'm
sense,
comfortable with you, I
because
use
your
language
question
even
was
when I'm not
about
comfortable with you. I like to be
love. One of your
authentically
questions was
myself.
about your
So
heart and stuff like that.
I talk to
And
Kiki
I mean, of course, they're all connected,
interestingly sometimes.
but me, that sacral directly connected to the heart. So your heart is open, but your vagina ain't. So it makes sense. That's it. That's the truth. That's how that That's how that happens. I'm telling you. Hey.
So what that mean?
Well, it means that you're open for love. You're just not sexually intimate right now. You're passionate. You're friendly. You're
Right,
not
Cherry, you see, I'm
sexually
crazy.
fulfilled.
I told her her heart open, but her
You
vagina
definitely
ain't.
have some crazy.
Cherry, you know how I talk, girl.
You got a little, which is it's not surprising, because I could see that you having little bouts of shyness going on with you right now. And you overly concerned about something. So that's what's throwing your sacral off a little bit. Well, of course, you craving intimacy, which makes sense. That's fair
See,
enough.
Lando.
Yeah. Well, you gotta get out your shyness.
A
Just
lot of
goddamn-
people.
I'm not shy.
A
You
lot
be
of
having
people
bouts of it.
is. Hold on, let me.
Yeah, that's
pause
why I was
about
getting
that.
right. That's why I said
One of the comments said be like that sometimes. And it's the truth. A lot of people may be open for love and romance, but if you are in one-on-one partner, you like monogamy, you can be open for love and your sexual organs not be being used. You might not, you know what I mean? Not everybody believes in masturbation. Not everybody is on that. You know what I mean? So some people just want that intimacy with their partner. And when you're not having that intimacy with your partner, it can make sense where how your sacral can be off if it's given, if it's like showing us sexual energy at that point. Because there's plenty of times that I read people say sacral and it doesn't give me that. But a lot of people it shows up, especially those people who are open for romance, who want romance, but they want one-on-one pair bonding, if that makes sense.
I got feelings of shy. I was like, well, that was ironic because
Can't be
that's why I
giving them
feel
goods to
not a
everybody.
shy person. I'm like, well, you definitely.
And one more thing, you gotta be mindful sometimes because your sex can be a place for healing, and you definitely don't want to allow people to be dumping their traumas on you through sex. So when Marvin Gaye said sexual healing, it might have been a song and we might like to dance to it, but it does have some validity. You can heal, like you can heal people with touch. You can heal some people. They say a woman's sexual organ can be a portal for healing. So specifically for women, be mindful of that. So you can't be giving it to everybody for sure. But be mindful of that because you don't want anybody just dumping their trauma on you.
Only can have bouts of it. And
Men
I
too,
think you have
because
a
don't
bout
think
of it
that
now, which
you
makes
can't
sense.
heal
New
with the
place,
staff.
You know what I mean? You don't even know the vibe of the men yet. Where you came from, you even understand the vibe of the
And
men.
even myself, I'm being more aware of that.
Ain't no different. Same shit as me.
I'm biased. And my bias is gonna come through in this statement. I hope I don't say where she lives, because this might be somebody that watched this that live there. And I'm so biased. I ain't gonna lie. I got one friend that lives there.
I
love her to
believe
death.
that. I got one friend in Houston that I went to college with, and I
said
think
it too.
Jazz is
I'm
cool.
sorry.
But yeah, if the women are any indication of the men, I understand. And when I'm in Houston, Houston has this weird mix. Too many of they dudes want to have this, for lack of better words, hood swagger. You know what I mean? So they want to move like that, and that's just stupid. So yeah, but in Houston, you do have potential to meet one of the greater potential to meet
So it ain't
financially
all
stable
hate.
men,
I gave Houston a little
stuff
shout
like
out.
that. It's just
I
a
just
matter
hate
of
y'all
finding
traffic
your
and
tribe
some other
when you
Right.
out there, and it ain't gonna be just meeting people because Houston sucks. Yeah, take some
God.
time or put that
I
energy
should have
out
cut
there.
that out. I
and,
did all this
you'll
editing
connect
today,
with
and I ain't edited out
your
Houston
tribe
sucks.
at some point.
I love Houston. I was lying. But dating, it can be
I
interesting.
received that.
Yeah. Normally, I tell people to masturbate, so at least I ain't tell you that.
Normally I do.
Right. Hey, this one thing I do. If you was gonna do that, you ain't need me to tell you.
Valid.
All right,
Valid.
so
She
let's
definitely
check
didn't
the
need me to
root.
tell her that. Some people do.
See what's going on.
Like I told you, Kiki's aware of herself and honest and all those things with who she is. And so, yeah, she definitely didn't need me to tell her. Right. she need to get to touching that thing. Shut up. Move a little better.
You kind of grounded. Yeah, it definitely could be. It's a little underreactive and not spinning clean. Woo. You got some feelings of not belonging. Like this say belonging in this world, but I think it's what I just said to you. You just haven't found your tribe yet. You know what I mean? Your niche there. So you probably do feel like you don't. It's not a sense of belonging going on yet. Until you found your tribe.
It's interesting. I appreciate y'all watching and enjoying. I know Kiki might appreciate it.
Yeah, I
too.
keep
Hopefully it
going
gives
back
somebody
to
courage.
unloved. Yeah.
Yeah. Excuse me, I'm so gassy. I hope y'all not hearing all this.
What's your thoughts on long distance relationships?
Oh, I'm out for it.
I was asking her
Oh,
that to see
okay.
how she's viewing her options of dating. Because if she's
I mean,
having
of
a
course,
hard
it's not a
time
preference
and where
because I
she's at,
crave
Intimacy,
and I
no
want to see
doubt.
how open she
I
was
like,
to
you
other
know,
places.
being able to
Hold hands and
my person. No, I'm
Yeah.
not over how
what?
See, that's
That's
what I
what you
mean.
want to
She's
do, just
very
sit on each other's
aware
face?
and
yeah,
clear about
that
who she is.
and I mean, like he can touch me, but I'm not big on holding hands.
So
It's not
she
my
likes
thing. I mean, we
intimacy and
can,
touch. She just not
especially
holding hands ain't
fingers
her thing.
intertwined, like.
And
But
she's a nurse, so you
actually,
know,
holding
nurses
hands
always
is
have
fine.
feelings about
It's just
hands
not
and
my thing.
germs.
Like I'm not looking for it. But like I
hope
said, a long
hope you
distance
ain't no
relationship is
nurses
fine as long as
watching.
we both understand that there will be an end date. Like it will have to be
Oh, okay.
some kind
Got it.
of, like somebody's gonna have to do something.
Meaning you can't
I mean,
live.
that's just the
She's not
understanding.
trying to do
I don't
long distance
desire to be
forever.
in a long
It has
distance
to be. There
relationship
has to be some
forever.
sort of
So,
goal of y'all getting
we
together,
just have to
which makes
know
sense.
that, and I know going
I
into
would be
it,
the same.
long distance relationships actually cost more money.
Hell yeah.
They're more, you have
Let me reiterate this: long distance relationships cost more money.
to be very unconventional,
Ask me
think
how I
outside of the
know.
box, all of that. So I'm fine with that, but
I was just
it has
asking.
to be the right person.
Yeah.
I typically get caught up on, I'm very loving, giving, and out there, but I'm usually what my issue has been is very one-sided.
I can see that, which is why I said earlier, the one thing that you want to be aware of as it relates to your heart is receiving.
Yeah.
Because if you used to one side of situations, that receiving shit can
Like
you be
most
like,
of us.
whoa, you know what I mean? It do
Yeah.
be like that.
How I know
still,
what,
so
Toya?
I just like my
Well, I start talking about
coping
you again.
mechanism of receiving is shut the fuck up.
Thanks
So
for
I've
holding
gotten that
on
far. At
too.
least I could be
Jesus
like,
Christ.
I
Thank
knew you'd be
you.
gone.
That's how I
Because
learned
before it
first.
used to be
Learn just
like,
to
you ain't had
shut
to do
up.
this, you
That was
don't
my
got to do
first
that.
step
Like,
into
you know what I mean? We
receiving.
trying to talk people out of their goodness and shit. So,
Right,
but
right.
now I could be like, all right.
No, I am definitely at the point, especially for men, to say thank you. Now, I do have inner like, oh my God, I can't believe he did that for me,
Yeah.
whatever. But I have learned to just be
I
accepting
told
and
you,
be like,
I
I
I
know.
told you
still
I was gonna
deserve these
use your
things. I
video,
am
girl.
worthy.
I edited out
I
all that stuff. I said I was gonna edit out.
will be
I
more than willing
probably
to
should have
reciprocate those
edited
same
out
things for that person,
my thoughts from
So
Houston,
I
but I left
definitely
that
learned to
there.
just be
You
like
did good
grateful.
though.
Thank you. I
You
appreciate
did
that.
good.
Yeah, well, I say in this dating realm, put more of
Thanks for
that
joining, Kiki.
of yourself out there too. Because as a person that you know what I mean?
Then you get to see the new
Like
setup
I
too.
know you are that person.
So you got the whole full story.
But it's like hidden behind a paywall. You got to get to this certain. It's like playing a video game. Well, it's like playing Fortnite. So I want to pause to talk about. Yes, you can watch the. You'll be able to watch the replay once the live is over, and I can send you if you want to watch the whole live. It'll be on. It's on YouTube. It'll be on Twitch, and it'll be on. It'll stay on Facebook. But I can send you. I can also send you the edited video. I did want to pause to talk about this because there's a certain area that I'm about to talk about her, but I think a lot of people treat dating and energy this same way. They put their goodness behind a paywall. I got you. I'll send it to you for sure. Yeah, this the edited version, so I did good. Yeah, you're on all those platforms, Renee. Surprise, surprise. So yes, when we go live, we are on YouTube, we are on Facebook, and we are on what did I say? Twitch. Now, help me get to 1,000 followers, and we'll go on TikTok too, right? So right. So you really don't want to do a live, huh, Renee? And the wild thing is, most of my views come after the live, so I don't always get a ton of interactions during the live. I'm getting more and more as it goes on, but the views come after it, so people do watch. So when I record yours, Renee, you're next, woo! But like I was saying, I think a lot of people see dating, romance, their goodness. It's kind of like they put it behind a paywall where they only give it to who they think is deserving. And our gauge can be off sometimes depending on where we are at. And that's not a Kiki issue. That's a human issue. Although I'm talking about it in reference to Kiki in this situation, it is not a Kiki issue. A lot of us, I hear a lot of people say stuff like, you know what I mean? I will do this if they do this, you know what I mean? Or I will do that if they do this. But the thing about it is you need to live in that energy all the time. Your energy should not be so contingent on what other people do. It should be the energy that you live in for your life and for you, not based on other people. So if someone doesn't appreciate your energy, so what? You don't stop being a good person because they couldn't appreciate it. Or you don't be like, well, I'll show them I'm a good person after they do this. No, you just continue to live as a good person. For Fortnite, free to download.
And
But
I
as
explained it
soon as
before,
you want to do
it's
something,
conditional.
you got to get through that paywall. So
Come over there, you can do it. I got you,
interacting
girl.
with you is free. But to get to that goodness, you got to get to that paywall. And the thing about that
promise
goodness
you I
behind the
got you.
paywall is what's going to attract the players. So you got to put that goodness on the
And
other
then
side
you can
of
do
the
like
wall.
Kiki, join the
So-
live and watch
No,
your
you
video.
don't.
I edit it real
Yeah,
nice.
see, that's
if you
the
want
thing.
to, I'll put
You
some
think you
daisies on
do.
your hair.
Because you move in
Whatever.
good energy, because you're a positive person and you don't do harm. But the loving nature that would attract the man, you don't put that out there. And I've talked to you,
I
and this is
do. I do. I am extra considerate. I try to anticipate needs. I listen
Look at my
to
face.
the
I'm
small
sitting there
things.
just
I
listening to this
send
because all
random
she
whatever
said
just
is
because
true.
it's Tuesday.
I am facially expressive too, so that's
I
why
try
Kiki
to,
don't bother me none.
channel how their love language is and
and she
what
does all
resonates
these
with
things.
them versus
She
what
is that
resonates with me.
kind of
Like for
woman.
me, gift giving is like one of my prime love languages. So I understand that may not be the other person. So I try to find out what really resonates with them, and now I'll try different things, until I could just kind of pinpoint it. A lot of people, a lot of men now, they don't even know what it is anymore.
Okay, so you think about your love in terms behind that paywall.
Yes,
So you think about all the things that you'll do once they get through that paywall.
You
I
heard?
told you it needs to be on the other side. So when I say you need to present that more, don't tell me you don't. So you'll do it to a man that you
just called me the
decided that
love
you want to
doctor.
see where it's
We
going.
always sing that bass.
But you don't carry that
I ain't
energy
forget.
everywhere in everything
Which means
you
kiss
do,
me a lot.
because that's going to attract the man who you can do that for. Not you picking them, and then when you get the man, start trying to, well, let me show him my
Toya, I'm calling
goodness
you
to
out
see
anyway.
if he's
Renee,
deserving of more.
somebody else in
Nah,
there
you just
acting
got to
nervous
live
too,
in
but
that
I'm recording
goodness.
Toya.
And that
call her
man
out
gonna
and I'm
find
edit
you.
it out.
Yeah. So think about it like this. And
Hector know
for
that
women,
besame mucho.
this is a concept that brings different emotions. But all men.
Kiki, you supposed to
Carry that
encourage
energy
them.
for all men. Now,
Encourage
do you
them,
do it for all men? Okay, you see, that's what I'm saying. Carry that energy for all men. You know what I mean? So,
That's a challenge for a
okay.
lot of people to carry that
So
energy
I
for every
recently,
human
this
being.
I'll give you an example. I recently
You know what
just
I
got
mean?
stuck
We
with
have a
some
lot of
strangers trying to
conditional.
move in with me on the slick. I told you about that, right?
You did a great job, Kiki.
One of the reasons
You the
why
first
she felt
always,
comfortable
baby girl.
doing
You
that
my
is
first
because
reading, you the first
I
on
carry
whatever
that
this
loving
is.
energy for
Do your
all
thing, girl.
women. They all know that they can get that. Whether I know you, don't know you,
round of
doesn't
applause.
fucking matter. Just the fact that you are a woman, you deserve a certain level of treatment. See, and that's what I mean. You keep your
She
shit
did an
behind a
amazing
paywall.
job. She did an amazing
Put it on the
job.
other side of the paywall.
That's one of them, chew the meat, spit out the bone, like, yeah, that's one of them.
You say it again in English?
Take what is applicable and leave the rest.
No doubt. So yeah, just put it on the other side of the paywall because you are all those things that you say you are.
Okay.
You are.
So that's a good question.
And I've known you long enough to
Let me
agree.
pause this so I
You know
can,
what I mean? And
try to
I've
address that
seen
question
you.
real quick.
So someone asked, but how does one carry that energy for all men, but at the same time set boundaries? Girl, Kiki, you look amazing. Ain't nobody worried about that. I've had people on this show straight from the gym with the sweat still on their forehead. And hey, listen, thank you for allowing me to do this. And you look amazing. So carrying energy does not always mean access to that energy. You get what I'm saying? So let's say I give you uh-oh. No, I paused the you can't hear me? Hello, hello. Oh no. So I hope you can hear me. I'm gonna just say it. So carrying the energy does not mean everybody gets access, continuous access to that energy. So for example, I talked about how one of my things is I try to save people, right? So okay, good. So I carry a certain level of respect and what's his name for all women. So I'll give you, so like if I walk up to a door and a woman is there, I hold the door for the woman. It's not based on if she has shown me that she's worthy of me holding the door. Now, because I had that energy of respect and love, that does not mean she gets access to me. You know what I mean? She just got a dose of that energy. So one way you can do that, so like for example, it's because you give a man a compliment, that does not mean you also must give them access to you. You got what I'm saying? So you can carry respect and not have access. Like listen, I ain't even finna lie. I respect crackheads sometimes. One of the best pieces of advice I ever got was from a crackhead. You know what I mean? Like, don't cheat yourself, treat yourself. But one thing I ain't finna do is give them access. You know what I mean? I give them respect. I give them whatever I can, but don't access. So you can carry that energy, but that energy does not mean that everybody gets access to you. You know what I mean? But anybody might be able to experience a dose of your energy. And specifically for women, that's going to happen for you anyway. All you got to do is go to a gas station and some random dude is going to be like, hey, they're going to get a little dose of your energy anyway. You know what I mean? So you might as well carry a good positive energy instead of walking around with a don't bother me energy, because that don't bother me energy never stops anyone from bothering you. It just makes the weirdos bother you and the normal people leave you alone. I've known you long enough to see you even attempt these things with individual men. You know what I mean? But I've also known you long enough to know it's for the men that you pick to try and see if they're worthy of your goodness. That's a good way to think about it. You know what I mean? Balancing, you know, that's not always access, the best. You know what I mean? That's a good way to look at it. You know, so, and you attractive. You all the things you are. Good energy. You know what I mean? So put that out there. So we can be like, that's excellent.
Okay. Thank you so much.
I just said that you do have that. What they call it? Hold on. What they call that thing? RBF. The only people who leave you alone are normal people. Crazy. I mean, well, I ain't even gonna say crazy because we're working on that language. But people whose energy you do want around, they are turned off by that energy. If you carry that don't bother me energy and I'm a positive person, you know what I don't do? I don't bother you. But if I'm a negative person and you carry that negative energy, I'm going to bother you. That's one of the places where they lie to us about opposites attract. Opposites do attract. They do. They do. The part of that we always don't know or we always forget is it takes a cataclysmic event for them to separate. So something terrible has to happen for them to separate because they don't belong together. So if you carry that don't bother me energy, which can be seen as a negative energy, you know who that's going to attract? Not positive, more negative. So you're going to get more homeless men, more men, more homosexuals, more any of those things. Because a man with any grain of salt or any self-worth or value is not going to deal with that when there are inviting people in this world. Why would I fight for your access when there are people who feel as though I'm deserving of the access because of how I carry myself and who I am? You know what I mean? So that's where you got to trust your intuition and all of those things. So But that was good. I know you may not try not to be like that. Life is situated because it's a certain level of protection for women to have a certain guard. You don't want to give access to anybody. You got it. You know what I mean? But you can still have an inviting energy and not allow access. You know what I mean? Hey, I'm an inviting energy, but people be so shocked. You come over here, and when I'm not hosting, I don't be wanting to talk. It's hard to get me on the phone. All this talking I do on here, you can't get me on no phone. If you get me on the phone, man, God bless you. You know what I mean? It has to be, yeah, man, Jesus Christ. I'm just not. I'm just a strangely quiet person, which shocks people. You know what I mean? Um, okay, so I'm not that was a little longer than it's been for the last couple of weeks. I try to keep them at hour and a half. The lives usually go a little bit longer. I appreciate your time. Hopefully the sound was good. Everything was good. We're gonna thank Kiki again. Round of applause. And it's this thing, what we say, what's it? Good job. GOODJOB. Good job. Good job. Give Kiki a shout out. Like I said, she let me she was my first energy reading, and I guess she's the first energy reading record that's played on live too. So I got a lot of supportive people. You know, one thing when they say that you know, strangers will support you more than your family and friends and stuff like that. I guess it's really about how you open yourself, because the people who have been most supportive for me or have been interested in, it's been friends. You know what I mean? And whether they be Facebook friends, some of these people I haven't even met in real life. You feel me? So I guess in some sense they're strangers, but we've been Facebook friends for 8 years. That's sweet friends. You know what I mean? I to see your kids grow up, everything. I'm like, you know what I mean? That's bananas. But I thank you. I thank you. I want to wish everybody. What do you want to say? Happy Thanksgiving. Happy Indigenous Peoples Day. Whatever you want to call it. I hope you have a great Thursday. I will be making some purple sweet potato pies. I will post pictures for you all because purple sweet potato pies are unique. And then my mama also put me on rum cake duty because my family likes rum cake. Guess they want their liquor and sweets together. And I will continue reading on Thursday. My plan is to still do a little bit reading, but we might be a little bit late. I don't know. I'm gonna be spending some time with my family. And I stay a little bit. There's a good distance. But if not, if I don't see you Thursday, I'll see you next Tuesday for another episode. Probably Renee. And thank y'all and have a great rest of your week. Hey.